And welcome back to Cats and Cosby. We continue here. We also have in the studio Judge Richard Weinberg and also former Brooklyn County Chair for the GOP, Craig Eaton. Guys, this is amazing. It's just crossing now that one of the topics that President Biden is going to speak about tonight is the border. And I had to think, what is he going to say on the border? What, I've left it wide open and I've had 7 million people come through, Craig Eaton?
It is clearly wide open. I mean, there's nothing stopping these people from coming in. They're not vetting them to see if they're terrorists. They're not checking to see if they have diseases. I mean, we were talking about all those diseases now people are getting in Florida and other states.
I'm worried about the terror threats.
But it's crazy. I mean, how many people
the fentanyl,
are they saying?
The fentanyl, the cartel activity, the human trafficking. It's absolutely awful. Look, let's face it. The first obligation of the President of the United States is to protect and defend this country in terms of its national security. When you have an open border, you fail in that obligation. This president has failed this country.
He has
dismally.
failed. Yes,
he has failed this country.
I feel like, I hate to use this phrase, but we were saying this yesterday. I feel like so many of these policies that John was talking about earlier, too, where he was referring to what's happened with the lack of enforcement of the oil sanctions. Think about the funding that we're giving to Iran by allowing them to sell oil to Russia and China. Yeah. They're buying their arms. Look at what's happening in Ukraine. Same thing with Russia. And yet they're clamping down on energy here. That's one issue. That, to me, that has put us in such jeopardy in the world as we get. And the border, Judge, to your point, because to have a wide open border
we
when you have these
are in
people,
such trouble here.
We are.
In New York City, we're in trouble. All the migrants came in, right? And only a small amount of them have applied for work permits.
Yeah, 2,000.
2,000 out of 100.
But I have to cite my objection to this. You know what the problem is? The New York City Council, run by the progressive faction, passed a law which was rejected by a Supreme Court justice. It's now on appeal, which would give people the right to vote. And the standard to get the right to vote is the working permit. So you have to be careful what you wish for, because if that
I'm not wishing for it.
If that law is upheld, and they get working permits,
then
all these people who have no commitment to this country, no commitment at all to the United States of America, its values, its culture, its history, its institutions, they get to vote and they get to run the city of New York. So be very careful about what we wish for.
By the way, that's a good point. My point is not that I want them to work. My point is that the whole guise of many people saying, oh, we should get them here in the city. They want to work. They want to be doing these things. They want to contribute. The fact that only 2,000 have applied, what does that say to you about their willingness of why they're coming to this country?
But you know, my opinion is that the president and our governor and our mayor are allowing them to come here, and their goal is to get them to be able to vote. So they have a whole new block of people that are going to say, hey, the governor and the mayor brought me here, so I'm obviously going to vote for them again.
Absolutely. That's their objective.
Let's be clear. There is no such thing as a sanctuary city. There is no such thing as a sanctuary state. It's the obligation of local government and state government to enforce and work with the federal immigration authorities, federal immigration law, and they've abdicated their responsibility.
So let me ask you, Judge, what do you think this president's going to say tonight? You're a Democrat. What do you think? You're a common sense Democrat. What do you think he's going to say about border at a time where we are worried about what's going on in Israel and everything else?
I think he'll say he likes chocolate ice cream like he did on that one day.
Or he'll start talking about his kitchen fire and compare that to what's going on in Israel. That's what he did in Maui.
I have a question for the judge. Can't the city come in, because you were involved in city government for many, many years with Speak of Alone. Can't the city come in and give them temporary work permits, which wouldn't entitle them to have the right to vote, just so that we can get them off the streets? Because, you know, it's going to get cold. Where are these people going to go if they're not earning a living and making money? What are they going to do?
Judge?
I think the work permits are going to be coming out of the state law, not city law.
Okay.
If it comes out of that. And I'm sure that the far left legislature, which is controlled by the progressives, be happy to try to accommodate them.
And speaking of far left, I have to call out the Democratic Socialists, because Mike Lawler, who was on earlier in the show, talked about Rashida Tlaib and these people. She knows right now all the evidence is pointing to the Islamic Jihad being responsible for that errant rocket that ended up at the hospital in Gaza.
This squad, and I tell you, as a House Democrat, this squad is pro-Hamas.
It's
They
shameful.
have no moral conscience.
You know what I worry about, Judge, though? And Craig, what I worry so much is that people around the world that are burning our flag right now are seeing that and going, look, a member of Congress is saying this.